and welcome to another exciting episode of The Front Row. It's July, so that means it's the San Diego Comic-Con. You're joining me, Ben, and my regular co-host, Mr. Simon Adams.
Neither of us in San Diego.
No, that maybe misled people there. But that does mean that we've got a shit ton of little bits and pieces from various movies that are coming out, both comic book related and otherwise, really, because Comic-Con's very much something that's kind of expanded beyond its original, original purpose.
Yeah, I always feel that it's more about the movie industry these days. I think it's the comic book movies have helped push that, but I certainly look to Comic-Con for a lot of movie news.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of little tidbits here and there that just kind of pave the way for the next few years.
Or the next, 50 years if you're Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel are getting fucking really cocky, with how many plans they've got laid down. I mean, Marvel have got they've had quite a bit and absolutely nothing at the same time come out of this. They've teased a lot of the Avengers: Age of Ultron, but they've not shown anything to anybody outside of the convention itself. The only thing we really got was a pretty cool kind of concept art poster that shows off all the Avengers. There's been descriptions posted online of a short trailer that was shown, but generally not a great deal altogether coming out of it. They've announced dates for the next kind of wave of films, the Phase 3 films, but they've never said which film belongs to which date. In fact, they've never actually got on record to say which films are going to actually fill all those dates. There's only rumours to go on. In fact, the only one that's guaranteed at this point is Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which has now been confirmed for a July 2017 release, being written by James Gunn. Now, it's late July. Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't come out till the last day of July, but you son of a bitch, you've already seen it.
I went to the premiere.
Red carpet and everything.
It was a simultaneous premiere, so Chris Pratt and I were watching the film at the same time, but I was in Ipswich and he was in London.
Oh, wow. But
I did get a free poster.
You got a free IMAX showing.
Yeah, it was class.
God damn it! I can't believe you got into that shit. It's unreal. Now, I haven't seen it. I've been looking forward to this. I don't want any spoilers, but from generally what you've told me, you seem to like it a lot.
Yeah, it's great. I'm not sure did you have a quick read of my review?
No, not yet. I haven't got around to it yet. I need to sit down and put all the kind of special stuff on it. Yeah.
Well, I completely avoided all sort of plot talk on it, apart from the setup that you get in the trailer. I think I was even more vague than that, to be honest. But I was just talking about the way I was comparing it to other films, and it's just coming out of that film, I was whenever you watch Star Wars special features on your DVD, and it's people talking about what it was like to be there in May 1977. I got that feeling July 2014. I was this is what it was.
I'm really excited, actually. Obviously, for anybody who's ever listened to any of our podcasts for the last 2 years, they'll know that we were really looking forward to this film, and I'm still really hyped for it. The reviews have been overwhelmingly positive so far. I've just finished reading the 2008-2009 run of Guardians of the Galaxy, which the film's heavily based on, or at least takes the most influence from.
Yeah.
I'm actually reading the Thanos Imperative, which is the event that caps it all off, which is quite good. So I'm kind of primed. I need to finish the Thanos Imperative before Thursday because I got my tickets booked for then. But I know you've already done the written review, but we're definitely going to be doing a podcast one as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's so much to talk about, especially when there's I know you're going to love it, so it'll be an interesting podcast to listen to.
It'll be really fucking really good now if I hate it.
Yeah, just for some balance.
Yeah, just for just to see how much of a heated discussion we get into.
I will say though that I'm excited that it's got a release date and it's already confirmed, but it actually says in the credits before they announced the release date that it was already confirmed for a sequel.
It doesn't do a James Bond. It's Rocket Raccoon will return.
And the audience cheered. Because that was the first time we knew that it was coming back, and after what we just watched, we all wanted it to come back immediately. But aside from the fact that it's got a sequel, it's got a release date, the fact that they've definitely locked down James Gunn to write and direct it, that's just the best.
Yeah, man. James Gunn, I love, man. I love that guy. He does really just fun movies.
Yeah.
They're not always cheery fun, but they're always fun. Do you think the Crimson Bolt will appear in Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
I don't think...
He's a misfit like them, you know.
He is, yeah. Thanos would shit himself.
I think that would be fucking hilarious. Yeah.
I've got a feeling that they're going to go back to Earth on Guardians of the Galaxy 2. That's not a spoiler at all. That's just where I think they'll take it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe not for the whole film, just for a little bit. I'm sure they'll want to get back and see what Earth's all about.
Well, I'm not going to go into them because this is a very, very kind of tenuous rumours, but I've heard some things that might happen in Age of Ultron that might link into a second Guardians film.
Right.
But I'm not going to them because I don't want to spoil things on hearsay that may inevitably turn out true or false and make me look like an idiot. I
will say one other thing before we move on from this, because I didn't mention it in my review, and I'd like to get it on the record, that there's a character in the film called Yondu.
Yeah, Yondu. It's played by Michael Rooker.
And he is amazing.
He's one of the original Guardians of the Galaxy, though, from, like, the original run that's set in the future. Like, the Guardians of the Galaxy is a really fucking weird franchise. Like, apart from having, like, a talking raccoon, its history is really weird. Like, the original version of it, I think from the 60s, was about a group of heroes who defended the galaxy, like at the end, like towards the end of time, almost. Like they lived in the Avengers Mansion, which was essentially a chunk of rock with like a protective bubble over it, with the Avengers Mansion on it, and they were set like 3,000 years in the future or something, and they fought like galactic threats there. Whereas the modern Guardians of the Galaxy, which is like Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, they are set in kind of current Marvel time period, and yet they the comic arc, the comic series that I was saying I've just read, the future Guardians actually play a big part due to time travel in the story arc.
Yeah, sounds about right for a comic book.
So because one of the regulars in the lineup for Guardians of the Galaxy in the comic book I'm reading is a guy called Major Victory, who's kind of like Captain America's like kind of successor, like far in the future. He's got Captain America's shield, and he wears this kind of blue sealed suit that if he rips it, he'll die because he's like displaced out of time, and it's the only thing keeping him kind of sealed in a little bubble. So yeah, and like Yondu's in it, and there's all sorts of other crazy future Guardians and stuff. So I was wondering, I knew Yondu was going to be in it, but I didn't really know how he would fare into it. But I'm glad to see Michael Rooker's awesome in it. I'm glad that
he's... Because I know nothing other than what's on the trailers, really. I haven't delved into it too far. So it'll be interesting to see where they take his backstory, because I'm sure he's going to be a fan favourite, and I'm sure they're going to have him stick around.
He's not, to be fair, he's not actually... He's one of the lesser future Guardians that appears in the comic arc I've watched. I've read, sorry.
I was referring to, from this film, he's going to be a fan favourite.
Yeah, probably. Michael Rooker's awesome, though. He's always a fan favourite.
Have you seen his Mohawk?
Yeah. Well, have you seen the comic book version?
Yeah, they've toned it down a little bit.
You'd have to. It's crazy. It's like bigger than him.
I've just looked at some of the original artwork, and it's amazing that like the film that I just watched was originally inspired by these images.
Yeah, it's crazy. I must say, even though I haven't seen it, I'm still looking forward to it. And it's nice to see that. I mean, this isn't out yet. You've seen it through advanced screening means, and the public at large, even in America, haven't yet got this movie. But for Marvel to commit to such an obscure property...
I'm really impressed with them.
It's like they must have faith in it. I mean, the reviews have been positive from pretty much everybody. Even the kind of slightly less favourable reviews are still generally positive. I think the worst one I've read is kind of like, it was like a 3-star middling one, but it was a positive 3 stars. It was like it is what it is and it's fun. Yeah. Whereas a lot of other people have said, no, it is genuinely good and it's great. But great. More Rocket Raccoon. What more can you say?
That's it.
It'll be interesting to see if they bring any of the other characters in, because there's a shit ton of them in
Yeah.
the original 2009 arc. I think there's a guy called Bug who's he's like a green skinned guy who's kind of a bit like a grasshopper, and he's like a martial artist. And I believe he was in the original screenplay for this one.
Right.
But I think they were going to kill him off really quickly, and James Gunn didn't want to just waste them, so he cut him out altogether. So
James Gunn's really, I think he's really smart with what he's like, how he's doing it. He's kept it small because he didn't have this sort of the comfort zone that Joss Whedon had, where all these characters had already been introduced.
Well, that's it. You can take it slowly. I mean, there's shit tons of other characters that come in and out of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, you've got this green skinned woman called Mantis, who's like a powerful psychic. You've got who else? There's at times loads of random people. You've got a guy called Jack Flag, who's a like I don't know what his power is. I think he's like super strong, and he's from Earth, and he hates cosmic shit, but he gets wrapped up in the Guardians of the Galaxy by one way or another. He's quite a cool character. There's a few other people who just come in and out of it. Like at times in the comic book, there's so many of them that they actually always split into two teams. Like Star-Lord leads one team and Rocket Raccoon leads the other. So it'd be interesting to see who they bring in.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they're gonna. I think they may be looking at this to at least rival the Avengers as they move forward.
Well, I'm still convinced. I don't have any proof on whether this will happen, but I'm still convinced that the Avengers 3 is going to be the Guardians teaming up with the Avengers fighting Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
Like on a kind of related note, Josh Brolin has already been confirmed to be the voice of Thanos, so we know he's coming. The Phase 2 movies have pretty much confirmed that through shady means, generally all these films are about Thanos trying to acquire Infinity Gems, although they've been repurposed quite a lot from their comic book counterpart. So I think that's what's coming. And the Infinity Gauntlet's such a fucking nerdy, like far out storyline for that to be made into a film, if indeed it is going to be, which at this point I think is pretty much a given. It's crazy, man. It's crazy how successful and confident Marvel are. But Guardians 2, great. Very happy. But before we get any of that shit, we've got the Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yeah. I've read sort of a description of the footage that was leaked, which shows a party in Stark Tower.
Yeah.
And it sounds... This is what I like about Joss Whedon. He's really good at the what would they be doing here, and then writing it down rather than what has to happen here. And
like there's been a few scenes where you just kind of see the Avengers all kind of hanging out in between missions, and it's like it's really funny. It's like used to good effect.
Yeah, so I'm guessing this is some sort of reunion situation, and then it kind of gets rudely interrupted by the sounds of things.
Yeah, obviously it's no secret that Ultron, the kind of Terminator, the Skynet of the Marvel Universe, is going to be the villain, voiced. I don't know. I certainly voiced. I don't know whether he's been CGI or motion captured as well, but played by James Spader.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's going to be pretty dark. Like the first one, as much as like there was Pearl, it was generally quite lighthearted and fun and more about the spectacle. Whereas this one seems to be much more kind of focusing on creating a bit of drama and actually giving the Avengers a proper threat to fight against that may, I think it's inevitable that the Avengers will win, but there's so many of them now, and some of them are coming to the end of contracts that I think some people might perish.
I think that's possibly true. We know Iron Man's he's not signed up for a fourth Iron Man film, Robert. So who knows what's going to happen with him? I thought they might have killed him off at the end of 3, to be honest, but I think Age of Ultron might be his swan song.
Possibly. Although he came out the other day and said that while he hasn't signed on anything, he doesn't know. He doesn't see any reason why he should give it up either. Yeah.
So I read that one as well.
It really depends on how long he's willing to do them and for how much money.
Yeah.
Because he can demand... I bet you Robert Downey Jr.'s paycheck is about the size of all the other Avengers combined.
Well, it was revealed that he's the highest paid actor in Hollywood last week.
What, without making a single film?
I can't remember what he was actually getting, but I think he earned like $75 million last year.
God damn, man.
And I'd just like to know where from.
Well, he did make a film last year, did he?
Not that I can't remember. Like Iron Man 3 came out March 2013.
So after Iron Man, he's done nothing. It's crazy, man. He just makes money for being that
Chef.
guy. Was he?
Yeah.
For like how long?
One scene.
Was he playing Robert Downey Jr.?
He might as well have been, mate.
Him and Jon Favreau must be friends then.
I think they're real buddies.
I like that. I like Jon Favreau.
Well, Scarlett Jo's in it as well. I'm sure that Jon Favreau's friends with everyone he meets by the sounds of things. So
He seems like a nice guy, you know.
yeah. I was going to say something really interesting about Age of Ultron. It was an article I read of someone who actually saw the footage says, like you said, it actually gives them a threat to fight against, and it's not as lighthearted. They said the style that they've gone for as well is. His criticism was that the first film always looked like a really, really well polished TV show, and I can kind of see what he means.
Yeah, I know what you mean as well. Yeah.
And he says this one looks like a dark movie, like a movie should look like.
That's cool. I mean, I'm interested to see what it's like. I've got my Marvel friend at work, who's the guy who's lending us all the Guardians of the Galaxy comics. He loves Marvel, but he really doesn't like Ultron. Or at least I get the impression that he doesn't like Ultron very much. So he's not that enthusiastic about this, other than the enthusiasm to see another Avengers movie.
Yeah,
and I don't know anything about Ultron. I've seen a few kind of clips of cartoon movies with him in. But I don't really know a whole lot other than he's pretty much the Terminator. Like, he's Skynet, he's an AI that goes rogue. So I don't really know what.
It's a very new villain, and most of the other stuff they've plucked from Marvel has been from further afield. So it's going to be interesting to see how they take on. It's pretty much the most modern, completed story arc in Marvel's current catalog, I think.
Age of Ultron. Well, the thing is, this Age of Ultron, it's been confirmed that it's not going to have anything to do with the comic.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
but yeah, it's fairly recent. It's like last 5 years, last 10 years at most. It's not that old.
2008 in my head, but
maybe, yeah. The thing is, Marvel got so much shit going on. It's I tried to read the Guardians of the Galaxy run from 2008, 2009, and I was told this is off the back of an event called the Annihilation War. You can read that first if you want, but then again, you might have to read some things going into the Annihilation War. And it's like, how far back do you go before you just start reading and filling in the gaps yourself? But
it's the same with any comic book. That's why DC rebooted theirs, because you need a jumping on point every now and again.
Yeah, it's crazy. But even there was 4 volumes of this Guardians of the Galaxy run, and the first one was just Guardians of the Galaxy. The second and third one were linking to an event called War of Kings, and the fourth and final one was the Realm of Kings, like the Aftermath, and then that goes straight into the Thanos Imperative. It's just fucking crazy how many events and tie-ins. You can't just read one comic. I understand that's a marketing gimmick to get you to buy more shit, but
yeah,
it's really off-putting trying to jump in.
And I think the thing with Marvel Comics, from what I see, is when DC do a crossover event, it's a lot easier to keep track of.
It seems
the main event will be in one comic, and the crossover will happen through it, so you can read them if you want. Whereas in Marvel, it'll say, right, this story starts in Spider-Man 8, but will continue in Iron Man 12.
Yeah, and I've read, a couple of years ago, I read the Civil War event. But then after I finished it, I read it on that Comixology app.
Yeah.
And after I finished it, it was like, oh, if you enjoyed that, then there's Civil War Spider-Man, Civil War X-Men, Civil War Aftermath, and 60 different types of Civil War tie-in that focused on the X-Men through fucking Civil War, or a certain character in the aftermath of Civil War. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I read the story and I'm done with it. It's too hard to follow.
Yeah, there's times when you just want a compendium to be just complete. If you buy Civil War, I just want to put all of these stories in order for me. I don't want to read Spider-Man in chronological order and then the X-Men in chronological order.
It's fucking crazy, man. Which is why I quite like the cinematic universe, because it condenses things nicely.
Yeah, and one story arc at least is going to be completed within 2 hours.
Yeah,
it's set up for something else, but you will have a story completed within 2 hours.
Well, that's it. I mean, talking about the Phase 2 movies. You've had Iron Man set up the Iron Army and these kind of robots that can be powered by AI, which is obviously going to lead into Ultron in some way, shape, or form. At least that's what I think, judging from everything we hear about it. And then Captain America 2, Winter Soldier, you've got like the... God, I don't know, should I give away such spoilers? How long has it been since Captain America Winter Soldier? It's been out like 3 months, 4 months?
Yeah, go for it.
It's spoilers are past. If you skip forward like a minute, if you don't want to hear this, but Winter Soldier opens up the banishment or the dissolution of Shield and basically removes Shield from the equation.
Yeah.
And that almost, like, when I came out of that movie, I was thinking, you know what, now that Shield's not there to kind of run the show, I bet you Tony Stark's called upon to create like an alternative, and Ultron is that kind of defense alternative.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's going to. I don't know. I think it's going to work out exactly like that, but I think it's that's the kind of opening I thought it was. And then you got like Thor 2: The Dark World, which was introducing another Infinity Gem in the form of the Ether, which is obviously going to link into Avengers 3, or at least that's what we speculate. But yeah, like, generally speaking, though, getting back to Comic-Con, because goddamn, we're on a right fucking tangent about Marvel as a whole here, it was all fairly low-key, really. Like, the Avengers, the Avengers all got wheeled out. It must cost them a fortune to get them all there, especially Downey Jr. But they wheeled them all out, really not to do a huge amount. They showed the trailer behind closed doors. Nothing's leaked about it, although there's been a few leaks or supposed leaks of a really dark, shitty picture of what's presumed to be Tony Stark's Hulkbuster armor.
Right, I haven't seen that.
It's not great, to be honest, mate. You're probably worth waiting for the real trailer or the real image to be launched. And there's some disputation about whether it's legitimate or not, because the armor in the picture looks completely different to, like, one of the kind of artifacts or exhibitions that they had was the Hulkbuster gauntlet from the suit busting through up like a plinth, as if like he was punching up through it. And the one on that exhibition looks completely different to the one in the picture, and that looks again different to the concept art that was leaked a while ago.
Right.
So nobody really knows what to expect.
I'm just interested to see regarding their timeline for films. Like, you say we don't know what's going to be in them. Do you think we're going to be getting a standalone Hulk film?
No, but again, I think they've got plans for the Hulk.
Just to finish off on Marvel, then I was posting on the Reddit the other day, and this chap came back with his supposed. He was predicting the release dates, and he got Guardians of the Galaxy right before they announced it.
Oh, really?
EP slotted it into the right slot. So this is Sleepyhead on Reddit. His idea was May 1st, 2015 was Avengers 2. July 17th would be Ant-Man, and then 2016 you got Captain America 3 with Doctor Strange. 2017 Thor 3 and Guardians of the Galaxy, and then 2017 in November, because they've got 3 dates in November, which is interesting. Will be Avengers 3. I'm not sure I agree with them at the end there. I don't think they'll come round to another Avengers so quickly, but...
Well, they've said in Phase 3 they're going to do 2 movies a year.
Yeah.
Which is stepping up the ante. Speaking of Doctor Strange, it's not somebody we've really ever talked about too much, but there's been a lot of rumours about who's going to play him, but apparently the latest one to be rumoured, and apparently the closest to signing a deal, unless this has been debunked since I saw this story, but apparently it's I never know how you pronounce his proper name, but it's Joaquin Phoenix?
Oh, really?
Apparently so.
That would be mint.
It would be both amazing and completely fucking bizarre, because this is a guy who comes across like he really wouldn't like being in this type of, like, this is the guy who goes to award ceremonies and sits there looking like a miserable fucker because he hates them. And this is the guy that did that weird film where he pretended to be a rapper with a big beard.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fucking bizarre. I can't see him like getting on board with this kind of corporate fucking, comic book juggernaut. It just seems like such a fucking weird thing for him to get on board with.
He's apparently there's been an update on his status, and the talks are progressing with him to take the role.
Don't get me wrong, I think he would be a really good choice.
Yeah. But then, you see, the thing is, I can remember reading an interview with Natalie Portman, because she went from doing Thor to filming Black Swan, or vice versa. I think it was Black Swan first. And then she was in an interview, says, well, what's it like, doing this really high-class, dramatic, independent film, and then coming to do a superhero movie? And then she was like, I much prefer doing the superhero movie, because we get take after take to get our like shot right, to get our
Yeah.
performance right. And when you do an independent film, it's like you've got to nail it, and sometimes you don't. You know you could do better,
But the
but
thing
you
is,
have to move on.
Natalie Portman's done a lot of kind of like, kind of silly blockbuster stuff before. I mean, for fuck's sake, she's one of the main characters in the Star Wars prequels. Not to mention things like V for Vendetta and whatever. Nothing else comes to mind at the moment. But she's done a lot of stuff like that in the past, so it's not unheard of. Like if you see Natalie Portman spring up in a film like this,
Yeah.
but not this guy.
Yeah, fair enough.
What's the most mainstream thing you've seen him in? Probably like Signs comes to mind.
Signs, yeah. I mean, I think Walk the Line's quite mainstream.
Yeah, it is, but it's classy. It's like a classy biopic as well.
Gladiator.
Gladiator, yeah, that's mainstream, but it's not like a comic book thing. I mean, Christ, I don't think he would have signed on for the proposed Nick Cave sequel.
Oh, we should have. I'll do it.
But I mean, to be honest, who knows? Like, the thing is, they've also got a guy called Scott Derrickson directing. He's been confirmed to be the director of Doctor Strange, and the guy hasn't done a great deal, and everything he has done has been a horror movie. He directed and co-wrote Sinister a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
With Ethan Hawke, and his co-partner was a guy called Robert, if I remember rightly, Robert Cargill, who used to work on a website called Spill.com, and they kind of do podcast reviews as well. And he used to be one of the regulars on that until he left to be a screenwriter, and he came up with Sinister. So there's a bit of trivia for you. But this Scott Derrickson is as a horror director, and I don't know much about Doctor Strange other than he deals with monsters and the occult and demons and stuff. So maybe they are going to go down the horror route with it, like
I get
or at least
the
a bit more
impression
sinister.
It's going to be very creepy and very sinister, but maybe it's not going to. I don't think it's going to be horror. But they always seem to pick a director that'll take it in that direction, but never go to where he's normally used to.
Yeah.
So, like, the guy that's just been hired to do the Ant-Man film, he's, like, completely... All he's ever done is, like, rom-coms and stuff.
Well, Paul Rudd is in the lead.
Well, precisely. So ever since Edgar Wright dropped out, so I think it'll make sense. I think that if they give each film, rather than just like have different characters in it, they've all got their own unique identity.
Yeah, they're right. You're right. They have, and that's great. It keeps them fresh. Keeps them. They're all linked together, but it keeps them fresh at the same time, which is great. But yeah, that casting rumor or casting choice, as it may turn out to be, is just completely left field. But I gotta say, I pretty like it. I love it. In fact, if it actually was true, imagine him turning up in like a future Avengers film or something. It would be crazy.
Yeah,
I could just imagine the drama he would cause on set.
I think it's possible, that I think he might want to do it because he might not want to do it, but he likes doing different things, and this is different for him.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Time will tell, I suppose. We'll find out sooner rather than later because obviously Avengers Age of Ultron out next year, early next year. Well, first half of next year.
Yeah, they're going to have to get moving on pre-production soon, so we're going to hear some news.
Fucking Ant-Man needs a kick up the arse after all the troubles it's had.
I've been hearing good things about the concept footage that the directors shot for. I need a guy. Is it Peyton Reed?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it may well.
I think Peyton Reed. Who? What's he known for then? I don't have him on IMDb. He directed Yes Man, for example. The Breakup and Bring It On. That's his
Okay.
Down with Love 2003. They're his top 4 films. He's all right, He's I think he's probably an all right choice.
They're all like kind of like rom-coms, aren't they?
Yeah,
It's ridiculous. Who knows? I must admit, I've kind of given up on Ant-Man. It's one of these things I'm just going to watch when it comes out.
yeah.
Because Edgar Wright's no longer there. Patrick Wilson's dropped out. There's a lot of just like kind of, it's so much back and forward. It can't help but feel like I don't care anymore. Just finish it and I'll watch it, and if it's good, I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
But too much drama surrounding it. Not enough
raccoons to keep
Not
us
enough raccoons. Ants don't have the same draw as a raccoon or a talking tree.
But yeah, anyway, the footage that I was describing has been well received. It was just, I think it was CG footage, which...
is it like pre-production mock-up things?
Yeah, but it had Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas had gone in to provide the voices.
Really? Michael
Yeah.
Douglas?
Michael Douglas is in it, isn't he?
I don't know. Honestly, mate, I'm so far removed from Ant-Man, I don't know. Who is he?
I'm sure it's Michael Douglas that's in it.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays the scientist that originally created it, I believe. Because Michael Douglas is playing Hank Pym.
Oh, right, so Michael Douglas is actually the original Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, right, okay, so...
But the film's going to be
Douglas
him mentoring the new Ant-Man or something.
Oh, okay.
So it's the footage that they described was Michael Douglas is like telling Paul Rudd how to use it, and then he shrinks down, and then he's just like berating him for being shit. It sounds quite amusing, but
that's actually an interesting. I didn't know that. I presume Paul Rudd was going to be Hank Pym, but that's actually quite interesting that they're going with the second Ant-Man. Like I presume Scott Lang is in the comic. I don't know anything about Ant-Man. I know Hank Pym creates Ultron in the comics, and that's about it. And he's one of the original Avengers, but obviously they can't go down that route. Okay, that's interesting. Again, I'm still.
I believe as well that Evangeline Lilly is playing the daughter of the Wasp, so it's almost like all of the characters are like the second generation.
That's pretty good. Yeah, all right, okay.
We'll see. I mean, I agree. It's the one that I'm like concerned about the most.
It's such a strange one to adapt as well. Like Ant-Man, I mean, what's his powers again? He can grow or shrink, and he's strong like an ant.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Something along those lines. I'm not going to delve into it too much. I tell you what, leave Marvel behind. I'm sure there's probably some stuff we haven't covered, but something that it's been on the cards for a long time. It's not a comic book adaptation; it's a video game adaptation, and they generally don't go very well.
Yeah.
Of course, with the exception of Dead or Alive.
Right.
Made purely watchable by Eric Roberts.
Indeed. And who's the Holly Valance? Is she in it?
Yeah, Holly Valance. God, that was the last thing she was in. No, actually, that's not true. She was in Taken. She was the pop star.
Which one's Taken?
Fucking Liam Neeson. I will.
Oh shit! Yeah, of course, yeah.
She's the pop star that he has to protect.
Right. Yeah.
At the beginning, he gets hired to. I don't know. She like a craze on its ass. Okay, we'll not lie about it. But anyway, the latest kind of video game adaptation on the cards is an interesting one because it's based on World of Warcraft. Well, more specifically, it's based on Warcraft as a property, and it's being
I thought you were going to start talking about The Last of Us.
No. Although I'll come on to that. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. So
you really took me by surprise there.
Yeah, but like Warcraft is getting made into a film now. This has been on the cards for a long time. I think maybe 5-6 years. I think it started to get taken seriously as a something that was going to get pushed forward in Hollywood around the time the expansion pack Wrath of the Lich King came out, which was 2007, 2008. But it's taken a long time. Sam Raimi was on board to direct for a long time. He dropped out. And Duncan Jones, David Bowie's son, director of Moon and Source Code, has jumped on board to direct this. And very little's been heard of it. Like, it's, I mean, as somebody who never played the game or anything like that, have you heard anything about this movie?
I know they've finished print photography and they've gone to spend a year pure on stage stuff, pretty much for that about it.
Yeah, I didn't. I've seen a couple of images leaked a while ago. I think that might have been shown at BlizzCon, the last BlizzCon, whenever the fuck that was, a few months ago. Actually, that might have been quite a while ago now. Christ, I can't remember. But other than that, I didn't know they'd finished or anything like that. But yeah, the finished principal photography. It's kind of in the can. They're doing a long time on post production. Probably a lot of work have to go on the orc characters because I understand they're going full CGI. I just hope they look better than the ones in The Hobbit. Than the ones in The Hobbit. But from what apparently some footage was shown at Comic-Con, and the only thing that's been publicly announced is the new logo for it, which is essentially just Warcraft in metal letters, kind of fractured with fiery stars. But there's some kind of descriptions of the footage that was shown, and it sounds pretty fucking good from what I can tell. It sounds like they captured some of the aspects of like the game. There's a guy riding a griffin, like a flying griffin in the battle, and there's orcs it'd be interesting to see how it turns out. Duncan Jones has got a pretty fucking good track record. This seems like a weird one for him to take on. Like, he's jumped from kind of low-key, kind of quirky, unusual sci-fi films to what is essentially a sprawling fantasy epic. It's a strange jump, but
a lot of directors seem to be making their mark on like the small scale, being thrown into like massive films, like Gareth Edwards.
Yeah, you're right. I think sometimes they use the smaller scale things, doing something a bit unusual, a bit unique. They maybe use it as a means of getting noticed.
Yeah, I think so.
So it wasn't all Marvel at the this year's Comic-Con. Legendary Studios already also had a panel, and basically a lot of kind of monster movie news came out of it. Obviously, they had Godzilla come out with Gareth Edwards directing. Obviously, the man behind Monsters, and he appeared on screen. He wasn't there in person. But he appeared to basically confirm that Godzilla 2 was in the works as soon as he's finished his untitled, unofficially announced Star Wars film.
Yeah, well, we could like predict or theorize about that for the rest of the podcast. So let's just move on.
Yeah. But yeah, it's first of all quite good that Gareth Edwards is doing a fucking Star Wars film.
Yeah, that is awesome.
And it's one of the kind of stopgap ones in between episodes, I presume 7 and 8.
I think it will be, yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. But so Godzilla 2's announced, and I gotta say, I like Godzilla well enough. It wasn't exactly mind-blowing. I don't think it deserves the praise it seemed to be getting across the internet as much as it was. It was okay. It was a good effort. I just think it needs a bit more actual Godzilla in it next time.
Yeah, I mean, I quite liked the initial setup, but it went on for far too long, and then there wasn't enough payoff at the end.
Yeah, the payoff was like, the fights just were really disappointing. I think there needs to be a bit more visceral action in the fights to make it work. There was a lot of large scale destruction, but like I always say this, but Godzilla basically sucker punched the other monsters to win. Like, he didn't really fight them properly, and when he did fight them, he got the shit kicked out of him. He snuck up. He literally snuck up on one of them to kill it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll be a bit trimmer in the sequel, so he's been working out.
I like the big fat Godzilla. I think he's awesome. He's just like this ridiculous tank. But so Godzilla 2, yeah, great. Maybe a chance to improve upon what was a fairly solid foundation. But Gareth Edwards obviously came on screen to announce that. But then when his message kind of came to a close, something out, like a message came on screen, and it said there is still one secret that remains, and then it showed there's one secret that still remains. There are others, and then the names Rodan, Mothra, and Ghidorah all popped up on screen with the tagline "Let them fight." Yeah,
well, it's like pure Godzilla fanboy glory here. It was an alright film, but people are gonna love the sequel if it's got this additional monsters in.
Oh yeah, and especially the 3 kind of most well-known Godzilla monsters outside of Godzilla. Rodan is a pterodactyl, so you think basically a flying dinosaur thing. Mothra is obviously the big moth, and Ghidorah is this 3-headed dragon thing, who I don't know a great deal about Godzilla lore, although I did end up reading a lot about it before the reboot came out. I'm pretty sure Ghidorah is one of the kind of biggest bad guys. He's always a bad guy, and he's frequently returns. So it'd be interesting to see what to do with that.
Are you going to continue about Legendary's monster?
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. The other one is a bit of a surprise announcement. I didn't know this was on the cards at all, but they also announced a movie called Skull Island, which anybody who's familiar with King Kong knows that's where he's from.
Yes. Is it going to be an origin tale, which is, to me, the original tale?
Yeah. As much as, a lot of people give the Peter Jackson's King Kong a lot of flack for being a bit slow, and it is a little bit in the beginning.
I quite like it though. I think stylistically it's perfect, and
when they finally get to Skull Island, I think it's fucking class. There's just so much shit thrown on there, and King Kong was done really well. Another fine performance by Andy Serkis as an ape. I thought it was really good, and I don't know what you could possibly do with just a Skull Island film. It's going to be interesting. And what's strange is obviously the King Kong that Peter Jackson did. Was that a New Line movie? New Line Warner Bros.?
Yes, it was. Yeah. So Legendary at some point have acquired the rights, and I must have missed it.
Is this? But does that mean this is going to be just a King Kong movie on its own, or is it going to be a follow-up or prequel to Peter Jackson's? I presume not, because obviously it's different company, different rights as such.
But they see the thing. I don't know what they're going to do. If I had to put my money on it, I would say they would try and tell the original King Kong story, but like modern day or something. And then
that didn't work out well in the 80s, though, did it?
No. But I think it's all going to gear towards a joint film because the same company now owns the rights to Godzilla and King Kong.
Yeah, but like proper King Kong, like, you know, legitimate King Kong. He's a big ape, but he's not Godzilla size. He's like
especially not new Godzilla size, unless they boost King Kong size for the new film.
Like even the old Japanese Godzilla versus King Kong, that King Kong was technically a different King Kong. He had like electricity powers and shit.
But it's just all of the studios seem to want to get their sort of big connected franchise off the ground. So, you know, you've got the Marvel one, DC are underway. And then I think it's, is it Warner Brothers who are starting to do sort of the monster thing?
Universal. But then again,
Universal,
they've said on record they've not got any plans to do their classic monster movie crossovers. They're just rebooting all the classic monster movies.
Oh, that's not what I read the other day, because the same writer-director has been tasked to do all of them.
Oh, really? God.
And it's all going to be part of the same series by the sounds of things.
It's maybe getting a bit too much.
God damn it, Marvel.
I know, I see what they've done. They've opened the fucking floodgates. Until everyone gets sick of it, like in 10 years' time. Yeah, but that Skull Island is like a bit of a left field announcement. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it's certainly a watch this space kind of announcement. Yeah,
it's an announcement that's just like there's no actual news other than the announcement, so it's all just conjecture completely.
It's completely speculative at this point. It's as you say, this might be a retelling of the normal King Kong film, but maybe it's completely like they never go to New York or anything like that. Maybe it's just all set on Skull Island, which, to be honest, that was the best part of the Peter Jackson movie, so I'm all for that. But then again, the Peter Jackson one threw in so much shit when they were actually on Skull Island. Like, what could you honestly show that hasn't already been done? Like, you had T-Rexes, you had dinosaurs, you had fucking giant insects, you had like a cannibalistic tribe. You pretty much covered a lot of the bases.
Is there any need to have a bomb disposal expert on Skull Island?
I wouldn't have thought so.
I'm just wondering if they'd find an excuse to write Aaron Johnson in the proceedings.
Oh, God, I hope not.
And can I just... Right, we never covered this when we were talking about Godzilla, but they make such a big deal about him being a bomb disposal expert, and it never comes into play.
It almost does, but then it doesn't.
I was like, this could have been anyone.
It really could have. It's just like, oh, I'm the star of the show. Can I go with you, boys? It's like, yeah, sure you can. You know, we need the cameras to follow us. And he's so bland as well in Godzilla.
They shouldn't have been allowed to put Bryan Cranston in the trailer, though.
God damn it! That's such a false advertising. It's worse. Like, the only other instance I've seen, I think we mentioned this in the Planet of the Apes podcast, but like, Gary Oldman suffers from the same thing. He's in the trailer loads, and even though he's not in that movie very much, he's in it infinitely more than Bryan Cranston is in Godzilla.
Yeah, he really is.
It's ridiculous. But never mind. Hopefully, like, we'll just cut out people and just get like the monsters all fighting in the next one. There's like so many of them now.
There'll just be one scene at the start with Aaron Taylor Johnson watching news on the TV, and then from that moment on, it's just monster fights.
That would be a better movie. I really hope they introduce Godzuki. do you remember Godzuki from the cartoon show?
When we went to see it, she was like, "Oh, I really hope Godzuki's in this." I'm like, "Shut up."
It's going to be amazing if they bring him in. He'll save the day. It's like he's the Scrappy Doo of Godzilla franchises. It's just it's not good. Quickly motoring on through then. The other side, other than Marvel, obviously you got DC starting their things up. You said that before. Obviously you got Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. Still not really a big fan of that title.
No. They should have just stuck with Batman and Superman.
Or just Dawn of Justice.
Or just Dawn of Justice. I think they should have saved that one for the third film.
Well, they're trying to catch up to one. They're really wrong.
I know it's stupid. I really think they need one extra film buffer before they throw it all together.
Well, I doubt it.
I'm not hopeful. I'm getting less. I was defending this film when it first got announced and when Ben Affleck got cast, and I'm by the day just losing my faith.
Well, they didn't really announce a whole lot. They wheeled Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill out on stage. They also then brought Gal Gadot out to say, "This is our Wonder Woman," and everyone was like, "Yay!" It's Gal Gadot from like 2 of the Fast and the Furious movies. And they also released an official picture of her in full costume, and she looks okay.
Yeah, she looks fine.
There's not like. I don't know. I'm not really a Wonder Woman fan, so it looks okay. The costume, it doesn't look particularly amazing, but doesn't look poor either, and it could do. What I did like, there was a lot of jokes going around on the internet when that picture got released, saying, "I'm so glad Zack Snyder nailed her plane in the background of that picture."
I don't understand the reference.
It's because she's got an invisible plane. And
Does she?
Yeah, Wonder Woman drives an invisible plane.
Oh, sorry. Yes. God, it's late.
It is late. Yeah, but I thought that was quite funny. But but there was also a trailer, and actually this trailer's leaked, and I have seen it. It was such a goddamn. The video made me fucking cringe though. Like it was basically somebody sitting in the theater with a cell phone, with a camera phone, taking illegal pictures of this trailer. But basically, you see like Batman in full kind of Dark Knight Returns style suit. Yeah. And he's kind of taking like a top off the bat signal and like switching it on. The bat signal goes up into the sky, and then all of a sudden you see like Superman floating in the sky, and his eyes are glowing red, and Batman's eyes are glowing white like they do in the cartoon series and the comic book, I suppose. And they kind of stare each other down, and then the logo pops up. And my God, the thing is like, this is the video made me cringe, right? Because like, it's Batman, it's blatantly Batman from the off. It's like, well, what's Batman going to be in the next 5 years? Oh, it's fucking Superman versus Batman. And like people are like, hey, it's Batman, and then Superman pops up, and like people suddenly click, oh shit, it's the movie they're both in, and they start like the guy who's taking the video just like gives out this like fucking like I don't know, it's like a ridiculously inappropriate groan. It's like, and I was like, really, that took you by such surprise that it makes you literally groan in ecstasy. It's like you couldn't tell which movie this was going to be.
That's ridiculous.
It's awfully cringing. It's like it's on the level of the "It's Still Real to Me, Damn It" guy who appeared on the internet many years ago. It was awful. But yeah, other than that, really, other than kind of blurry leaked shit and a picture of the two actors standing together, and then Wonder Woman getting wheeled out. Not really much to say.
I really don't know how they're going to do this. I just storyline wise, I don't know.
Yeah. It's. I don't know. I don't think it's a good way to reintroduce Batman.
I think that like a Dark Knight Returns style story would be great as a standalone Batman movie, but when you're trying to like shoehorn him into a new franchise, I don't think it's the way to go about it.
I feel like, you know what I'd love, right? As much as I love the Dark Knight films, and they have their place because they're very different from like normal comic book Batman.
Yeah.
But I would love like an Arkham, like Asylum style Batman, like a dark, slightly more adult, gritty, comic book focused, where there's still a bit of like fantasy and a bit of fucking obscure science.
Yeah, some eccentricity as well.
Yeah, like some enemies are legitimately just fucking superpowered supervillains that Batman's got to fight. I would imagine a fucking Arkham Asylum film. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Just something along that lines. I think that would be a great way to establish Batman in this kind of slightly more outlandish, slightly more science fiction based universe, rather than kind of just chucking him in. You don't even have to make like a standalone film an origin story. We all know who Batman is. He's a guy who drives a car and dresses a bat. There's not really any more explanation needed other than that. But just give him his own movie to establish him in this universe, like Man of Steel did for Henry Cavill's Superman.
Because I feel that the lesser characters like Wonder Woman and Cyborg, if you've already got Superman and Batman established in this universe, you can then put the others in. But to just have Man of Steel established, and let's face it, it wasn't a grand movie.
It was, we've said a lot of shit about it. It's okay. It's sillier than it should be. And for a film that takes itself so serious, it's very, very silly. But it is entertaining enough. And we've always said Henry Cavill is a great Superman.
He is great, yeah.
And Lawrence Fishburne is a great newspaper editor. Highlight that film, that run.
Jesus.
Bringing it all back. But I don't know. I'm not particularly excited, but I'm intrigued by this whole escapade. I would be slightly more interested if it was just Batman and Superman. But the fact that they're like chipping in Wonder Woman and rumors of the Flash, and the fact that they've gone on record and said Martian Manhunter is too silly to make into a film, whereas like Marvel have got fucking Rocket Raccoon coming out this week.
Yeah.
I don't know. DC just seem ashamed of their own products. It's really weird.
Yeah, it actually does sound like that. Yeah.
Martian Manhunter. I don't know much about him, but he sounds badass.
I don't know anything about him. I know he's in Lego Batman, and he's all right.
He's a shape-shifting Martian who poses as a I think he's a obviously he's not New York-based detective because that doesn't exist, but he's a detective in some city. And then, he's a crime-fighting, shape-shifting alien.
New York's in the DC universe.
Or maybe it's New York then, I don't know. But he's like a hard
Because Constantine works in New York.
But is that set in the same universe as Superman?
Yeah.
Alright, okay.
There's New York and Gotham are two separate entities in the DC universe.
Alright, okay. What's Metropolis then?
I don't know where it's supposed to be.
Gotham, yeah. Where are these places meant to be? If real cities
There's a map
exist?
that someone's done of with Gotham and New York on, as if they were two separate cities, just so you can see where they are.
All right, okay.
I'm not sure where. I always think these Metropolis is supposed to be equivalent to Chicago.
But I was going to say Chicago,
but I always get it wrong. I'm not sure.
I always is it West Coast City?
Yeah, there's West Coast City and Surf City. No, that's a song.
West Coast City, it's like
Star
the laziest. It's just the laziest fucking name I've ever heard. It's like, oh shit, we need to put these new heroes in a city. It's on the West Coast. Fuck it, chalk it up.
It's just is that's where the Teen Titans live? I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't really know a lot about DC, just bits and pieces. I don't know a lot about DC, and I bought. I told you about it as well, and you bought it. Injustice, the beat 'em up game.
Oh yeah.
And watching the cutscene at the beginning, that shows off pretty much the whole roster of characters. I was like, well, I know who Batman is. I'm not sure who any of these other fuckers are.
I've got to say, I'm currently buying I think 2 DC comics every month. Well, no, more than that, 8. And I know Batman, Robin. I know all the Bat characters, and then, even Harley Quinn's the other one I get. She's a Bat character. I don't know anything about the wider range of it.
I know there's a character called Hawk Girl, and her power is that she, she's a bit of she's kind of she's got wings like a hawk, and she has a mace and hits people.
I don't know anything about her.
She's in
Black Canary's one of the ones that's obscure that I know about. She's a lot of fun.
God, yeah, that DC. I'm not even going to try and delve into that shit. It's just Marvel's too complicated as it is.
Yeah. And DC definitely goes further afield with its parallel worlds scenarios.
Yeah, the trouble with DC is everybody's far too powerful. They can just do everybody can do whatever they like.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Superman just pulls new power. Superman has so many powers that he forgets he has powers. It's I remember I've got this fucking power to save the day. And the Flash is ridiculously powerful. The Flash, somebody was telling me the other day, the Flash is so fast he can actually maneuver round molecules and atoms, so he can basically essentially pass through physical objects. And I was like, well, shit, I thought he was just fast. I thought the Flash was just a fast guy, but apparently no, his speed allows him to do just ridiculous shit. But never mind. something, something like maybe it's a strange thing to bring up, but something neither of us have read, but it's been on the cards being adapted into a film for a while, and that's 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, we finally have a trailer.
And we finally have a trailer, and
It had all the girls at work like quivering at the badge.
Really?
Yeah, they really were.
I was severely disappointed. It shows nothing.
I'm hoping there's a Red Band trailer.
Yeah, that's what we need, a Red Band trailer. God, I never even thought of that. That's exactly what we need. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how they can make this film either like controversial enough or hard. Like, I've never read the book, so I don't even know what to expect. But I've always heard, oh, it's really raunchy and it's all about, like, you know, fucking bondage and S&M and all that. But at the same time, like, we've had things like Secretary and shit like that dealt with stuff like that. And I don't know. I don't think this film, I don't know what to expect because I've never read the book. I don't really know what the content of the book is and how graphic it gets. But either this film's going to be just, like, ridiculous kind of, like, I don't know, ridiculous anticlimactic soft porn. Or it's just going to be like fucking Nymphomaniac. It's going to be like a 2-hour exercise in like just graphic sex, and I can't imagine it's going to be that at all.
The only thing that I think we can take from now is that we know it's a shameless cash in.
At
least it doesn't look like one. It might be shit in either of the two ways you've described, but in terms of like, it looked. Just if you took shots of that film, it looked like it was well produced. At least that's all I can actually take from the trailer.
Yeah, I don't really know what to expect. I know nothing about it. It seems weird because like the kind of I don't know, the excitement around 50 Shades of Grey has completely fell flat. Now, like, when was the last time there was a time when if you got on a bus during commuting, like 3 or 4 people would be reading it. Now, like, when was the last time you even saw a copy of it?
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
It's like, it seems to be one of these really short-lived flash-in-the-pan things. And something else I've noticed about this is it's a trilogy. I can't remember, it's like 50 Shades Lighter and... so I can't remember what
50 Shades More and 50 Shades...
Lighter.
50 Shades Darker and 50 Shades More, I think, too.
Alright, okay. But, like, I've heard it so, like... For every 10 people that have told me they've read 50 Shades of Grey, I think one of those people have read the follow-up books.
Yeah. Well, it's because most of these people that read 50 Shades of Grey are people that don't normally read, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of... It's like the Da Vinci Code.
The Da Vinci Code, or... like, even Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I saw loads of people who never read pick it up, and I was like, God, that's too heavy for me to read.
Yeah, I mean, Christ, I would say that's a lot more heavy than, like, the Da Vinci Code or 50 Shades of Grey, Christ almighty. To be fair to the Girl with the Dragon 2, that also has its fair share of bondage and sexual content. Not obviously as consensual as the ones in 50 Shades of Grey, but it's there. But, I don't know really... This film feels like it's come too late to ride the wave of hype. And I don't know I don't really know what to expect, to whether to expect incredibly graphic sex scenes, or whether it's just going to be kind of anticlimactic, really.
Are you going to take Nikki to see it? It comes out on Valentine's Day.
I don't think she'd be interested, to be honest. I'm
not about her being interested. It'd just be a comedy date, either way.
No,
whatever you get, it would be funny.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go by myself and sit. And I'm going to do my regular routine of buying a big drink and sitting in there and just like putting my feet up and getting settled for the show. You know, at first it was embarrassing, but now it's quite funny. If I can sit through Spring Breakers, I can sit through anything. So yeah, 2 more things before we go. I didn't mean to jump on this on the back of the little Warcraft segment we did earlier, but The Last of Us has also been confirmed as a motion picture. Obviously been rumoured a little bit here and there in the past. But Comic-Con actually brought out a kind of poster for it, like a mock teaser poster, which is essentially just the title, The Last of Us is now a motion picture, and a kind of body shot of Ellie cutting off her head, because obviously they've not got an actress to star as it yet. Neil Druckmann, who wrote the game script, obviously he's one of the directors at Naughty Dog, he's actually writing the script for the movie, and that's pretty much all that's known about it.
Sam Raimi's producing.
Sam Raimi's producing, yes, sorry. There was rumours that he was directing, but no, he's not. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of thankful for that, really. I think he's too light-hearted. Like,
He
even
needs
his
something
horror
more
is,
serious.
yeah, even his horror is kind of silly. And,
Yeah.
what was his last horror movie? Drag Me to Hell. That was kind of more gross-out funny than it was horror.
Yeah, I agree.
And, like, the Evil Deads are just fucking ridiculous, man. So, yeah, I'm glad he's not directing.
What sort of name are you thinking of then?
I don't know really. What's the guy?
I normally have a few ideas if I want to do a film, but for this, I mean, I've never played the game yet, but so it might be harder. But I still can't think of anyone who would be, 100% perfect for the job.
Oh, I know who can do it. Jonah Hillcoat, who did The Road.
Yeah, yeah.
God, that would be bleak as fuck. Because like The Last of Us is kind of The Road with zombies.
Yeah, it is, I suppose. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see. I'm tentatively looking forward to it because the game's quite long. And I always think like games, when they do a lot of story, they more follow the pacing of a book than a film because you've got to spread story over 10 hours.
Yeah.
And condensing The Last of Us into a movie is going to be pretty... It's going to be... It's interesting to see how they'll do it, but it'll be quite good as well. But at the same time, The Last of Us is one of the few games that has genuinely done story and acting to convey that story well. Like on a legitimate scale of like judgment. So does it need to be a film? I don't know, but it'll be.
I'm not sure it needs to be, but eventually we have to have a good one.
Yeah, and I suppose at least this is the best blueprint we possibly could get.
Exactly.
It almost makes me wish they just kind of would maybe pretty up the cutscenes from the game and just string them into a film. But other than Sam Raimi producing, I mean, obviously nothing's confirmed, but there was a lot of chat and rumour that Maisie Williams, who plays Arya Stark in Game of Thrones, is one of the frontrunners for Ellie.
Yeah, can you see that?
Kind of, yeah. If she can do a good American accent, because Ellie is very, very American. I can't see I don't think it would make sense for her to be English.
No.
But I can see Maisie Williams kind of having the kind of cheeky charisma that Ellie does have. And obviously she can do obviously Game of Thrones, she showed she can handle kind of dark and mature subject matter, so...
Yeah.
It'd be interesting, at least like to see what she would be like in that role. I can't really think of anybody else, I mean, unless they go for some kind of unknown, which is always, you never know what you're going to get, really, but I can't think of
Who was the girl in Super 8? Would she be too old?
Dakota Fanning's younger sister, Ellie Fanning.
Yeah.
She might be too old now,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because Super 8 was quite a few years ago now.
Yeah, it was. God damn, time flies. But I think she was older than was made out as well.
Right, okay.
I'm not sure, actually. I'll have to check that. But I think she is possibly older than you'd think. But, she's
one thing we can say probably for certain, Ellen Page, too old.
Ellen Page,
She's
yeah.
27.
Yeah, but she only looks like... she doesn't look old.
No, she doesn't.
Right. Let's see. Ellie Fanning. Well, maybe she's not too old. She was born in '98, so what does that make her, like 16? Maybe she's not too old. Maybe I'm just I'm talking about fucking arse.
So again, not play the game, but from her character in that, if she just gets a bit more cheek to her, because she was very reserved in Super 8, but very somber, which...
I really like her, actually. I liked her in Super 8. The thing is, there's probably 101 girls who could play her, but Maisie Williams is kind of an interesting choice. It'd be interesting to see who they finally do come out with. More and more interesting, it'd be interesting to see who plays Joel.
It's going to be Josh Brolin.
Well, yeah, he's the Texan, isn't he? So, yeah, you're already kind of halfway there. Fucking Hugh Jackman might step up. I can see him be doing it. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be one of those things that I'll constantly say, like, "Oh, this is not as good as the game," or "This is different." Yeah, even when it's better than the game, I'll say, "Oh, it's different." So I don't like it. But yeah, it is interesting, and I hope it is fucking good because we're due a good video game adaptation that isn't dead or alive.
Yeah. Maybe Holly Valance will play Ellie.
Hey, there you go. And Eric Roberts as Joel. That's been
That
a
would
hit,
be
a
amazing.
surefire hit. That's amazing. I like that already. Um, so yeah, I'll keep my eye on that. But the only other thing that's kind of come out of Comic Con that's really interested me, and it's kind of strange because I really wasn't that interested in this before, but there's been a trailer, the first full trailer for the new Mad Max, titled Mad Max
Yeah.
Fury Road. And this is a film that's kind of been bandied around for what seems like a long time. Tom Hardy's been attached to replace Mel Gibson as the titular Mad Max, and we've seen maybe a few images here or there. We know Charlize Theron's going to star in it. Don't really know a lot about it other than that. The original director, now can you remind me of his name?
George Miller?
George Miller, that's right. George Miller is actually coming back to direct this one, and I've got to say, like, this has been something that's kind of like, oh yeah, Mad Max could be good. Maybe probably going to follow suit to things like RoboCop, just be a CGI fest that doesn't really have the heart of the original. But this trailer that's come out, fuck man,
It's
colour me
badass,
impressed.
is what it is.
Yeah, it's just looks amazing. It looks like a true to life follow up from the like it looks like a proper sequel to Mad Max 2 Road Warrior.
And the thing is, with this trailer, right, I've seen better trailers, but I think the idea of this trailer is to really sell how the style they're going for rather than making a good trailer.
Yeah,
This trailer just makes me excited because of how they've done it.
It looks so good. Like, first of all, there looks to be incredible minimal amounts of CG, and it looks to be heavily stunt based, and it's fucking like just dark and trashy and really, really wastelandy. It's proper Mad Max, like desert apocalypse. And as far as I can tell, and apparently the director's gone on record saying this is a pretty accurate like summary of the film, but it's pretty much just a car chase from beginning to end for like 2 hours that never stops and just ups the ante constantly. And what was interesting about this trailer is Tom Hardy like says about 3 lines to open the trailer, and then that's about it.
He's not even barely in the rest of the trailer.
He's barely in it at all, and you know for a fact if he's in a film, he's going to be one of the best parts of that film.
Yeah.
So I'm fucking impressed, man. This is really on my radar now. I'm excited. I really like I like Mad Max 1 and 2, especially 2. 3 isn't that great. It's okay. It's all right. But this feels like it's going to be a sequel to number 2 rather than 3.
Just in the way
the spirit of that.
Right. I haven't seen 3, so I don't know what to...
Well, it's not. I don't mean so much that it's going to be like a follow-on on the story. I think this is probably going to be very much a standalone story, like the other ones already. As far as if I remember rightly, none of them really follow on. It's just another Mad Max story. It's a bit like Conan. It's just a Conan story. But this seems much more in the spirit of the second film than the third one, which got a bit silly. It wasn't quite as hard-edged, and Tina Turner was in it, so
right.
I don't think she's going to be in this one. But yeah, to be honest, that's probably the best thing I've seen out of Comic-Con.
I've got to agree with you in terms of what I've physically seen.
Yeah.
There's been some more interesting stories, but nothing's made an impact on me visually like that has.
It's gone from like me being kind of casually interested because Tom Hardy was going to be in it to like really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And you know what else? It's made me really want to go back and watch the original 2.
Me too. I need to buy them though.
I know. I've got to find them somewhere. I haven't watched them in years, and they're really good. I really like them. But yeah. So I mean, there's plenty of other shit come out of Comic Con, but we'll leave it there. We'll just end up wrapping. We go back into fucking Marvel territory, and I've had enough of that. I want to save some enthusiasm for Guardians on Thursday.
Oh, well, my enthusiasm's was for last week then.
Oh, I know it was, you bastard. I can't believe it.
I've got tickets for opening night again this week, though, so...
Well, that's good endorsement.
Yeah, IMAXing it. Oh, no, you couldn't, could you?
No, not from circumstance. If it's good, I may well go to the IMAX.
You will, then.
I don't know, I'll have to see. I've got to see...
I will say one thing, just as a tease for myself. They purposely didn't put the post-credit scene in the premiere screening.
I heard that. I heard. So I was actually going to ask you about it, but
it must be big setup rather than just one of these little Iron Man sitting on a couch ones. It's going to be big.
Well, here's a question. All right, this is maybe a little bit of a spoiler, but and just say yes or no. But is Thanos in the movie?
Yes.
All right. So I was going to say if he wasn't, he definitely is in the movie. So maybe he was the post credit.
When you were talking about Josh Brolin earlier, saying we know he's confirmed as Thanos' voice for these films, and he listed ones in the future. I was like, well, he's.
Well, yeah, I think he was announced like prior to the release, just to kind of, like just to basically get the news out of the way.
Yeah.
I had a feeling he was going to be in this, and I'm glad, man. God, we're slipping back into Marvel territory, but Thanos is a mint character. He's really, really good. I'm looking forward to him being in the cinematic universe. So,
Anyway, looks interesting, so we'll see.
Yeah, so plenty of goings on. So yeah, Comic Con's been fun. Plenty of comic book movies, plenty of sci-fi movies, and monster movies. They're another thing that's kind of come about. A couple of video game adaptations. I live in hope. I'm always disappointed, other than Dead or Alive, of course. But I'm usually disappointed with them anyway. But we'll see.
So I think to summarise, Comic Con this year, movie-wise, was nerd heavy, which is actually, I suppose, not a surprise at all.
No, it had been Comic Con. It's almost expected. So yeah, that's been another episode of The Front Row. Of course, you can always get more screenhog.co.uk on our website, so just head on over there. You also can find us on Facebook and Twitter. And of course, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can listen to all our podcasts and audio reviews for video games and movies. So enjoy, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks with another episode of The Front Row. So stay tuned.
Bye.